So in this lab we are going to look at fruits and nuts, and when we call nuts, I am going to drive you nuts in this lab actually, because what you normally call nuts, which are peanuts, cashew nuts, walnuts, coconut, none of those are botanically speaking nuts. As well as the berries, what you call strawberries, raspberries, mulberry, any one of those, they are not berries botanically speaking. So that's interesting. So let's see what we are talking in terms of fruit classification and what are fruit. So fruits are for what? Fruits, we all know, are coming in different colors and sizes, and all those are mainly developed ovary. Mainly ovary develop into a fruit, and the embryo and surrounding parts develop into a seed. So the main idea of the plant is to get the seed dispersed away from the mother plant, so that it will give some kind of a reward for the carrier or the vector, some sweet juicy stuff, or they can make very flimsy light fruits so that they can be dispersed by wind, or they can be large but very light like coconuts, which can be dispersed by water. So you have three different dispersal vectors, and evolution has made in such a way you have these. Also they make sure to put some poisons also in the seed, like in the case of grapes and apple, so that the seed won't be eaten, or the seed will be also found inside a very hard shell, so that the seed won't be eaten up. So main thing, you have to know the parts of the fruit. So as I said, develop from ovary or sometimes not from ovary. So we will be using that to use the classification of fruit, if they are being developed from the ovary only or not from the ovary, or including the ovary and other parts. So parts of fruit in botany, botanically speaking, you have three parts. You have, because it is from the carpel, we all know the stigma, style and the ovary, that is where it derived from. Therefore we call the outer one exocarp, the middle one meso, middle, and the endocarp. So different, this doesn't have to be all from the ovary, as I said. They could be fleshy or they could be dry. So that is another thing we are going to look at today in our lab, mainly fruit classification, depending on if they have a fleshy consistency or a dry consistency. They could be fleshy or dry. And again, another type of classification, if they come from a one single flower, they are called simple fruit. So you can have simple fleshy fruit and simple dry fruit. Or that is from one flower and one carpel. So one flower, one carpel. One carpel can have only one carpel, just like that, or compound fused carpel. So same here, one locule or many locules combined together but looks like that. So simple and one flower. Second one you have then aggregate. Aggregate flowers, aggregate fruits are those which come from one flower but separate carpels, so many separate carpels. So you get all these different types, aggregate types called later. Here mainly you get follicles, one of those examples among others. You will have many more examples I am going to give you. And then you have also multiple fruit. Multiple fruits are more like coming from many flowers. So many flowers, you all know now, are found in inflorescences. So the multiple fruits can be like, for example, a pineapple. Lots of flowers, florets, ultimately give rise to a one fruit. Okay, so that is a pineapple or mulberry, or so multiple fruit. Then you have accessory fruit, multiple fruit is an accessory fruit. Accessory fruits are when you have other parts also making the fruit. Very good example we all know, we eat every day almost, is apple. So apple, what we eat right round, it's like the whole receptacle, which is normally found down here in any other fruit, grows around the full ovary right here. So what we eat is a fleshy receptacle. So that's a apple, and they are specifically the word pome is used for that. So we have aggregate fruits normally. A good one, well known one is strawberry. So strawberry is a good aggregate fruit, and what we see in the strawberry as these little seeds are not seeds, they are the fruits. They are the dry fruits which are coming under the classification called achenes, not acne, achenes, and there are so many of those. What we eat here in compared to the apple, which have the seeds or the carpel inside, here the receptacles goes outwards, pushing all those little carpels out. So that is what we get in the strawberry. Okay, so it is inside out kind of. So you should be able to look at all these and get all these different types of classification and give examples. I will give you some questions on those, and compare and contrast and do the classification, study that. After that, the seeds get dispersed. The main thing is for the seed to germinate. So how do the seeds germinate? There are two ways seeds can germinate. So if you have the soil here, once the seed is being the fruit is being eaten or gone in the wind, and then kind of come to a inside here. So you have the seed. If the seed stays down, first comes the roots, and then comes what we call epicotyle. Those kind of germination, this is now seed germination, these are called hypogeous. Hypo means below, geous. Don't say gynous. Geous is earth. Hypogeous. On the other hand, the seed can come up like in some beans, situation of some beans. They come up with the hook right like that, and then you have the roots here. There's no cotyledon, so these are the cotyledons. Cotyledons are the embryonic leaves. Which are fleshy, most probably, most of the time. So same thing, cotyledon. And they store the food and water for the growing plant because they haven't started photosynthesis yet. But once they come up here, they could start photosynthesis, and they can nourish the developing plant for some extent until the first leaves come out. So this is called hypocotyle hook. The idea of the hypocotyle hook is to prevent damage to the most important part, which is the embryo, which is right here, to grow up later to make a nice plant with all those. So that is the types of germination you are going to look at and pay attention to those. In this one, you can also see when they come direct up, most like grasses or cereal like rice, oat, wheat, all those. There's what we call a nice cap. It's called coleoptile to protect them from being eaten up or harmed from the soil microorganisms and mechanical damage from the soil. Okay, so pay attention to all those. Pay attention to all types of fruits which we are giving you, and compare and contrast, and that's all for this lab. Okay, so enjoy. At the end you might be able to get some fruits to eat. Okay, thank you.